what were some of the key drivers or criterias that JCI looked at from a perspective of your technology partner or a solution partner?
I think these are some of the key areas, and not all, I would like to say this, not all, but these are some of the key areas of criteria that we actually look at when we consider selecting our payroll future partners. Yeah. Now, first is the ability for us, right, in improving efficiencies in the whole payroll process. And here we talk about, it's not just about the payroll processing traditionally, and we are looking at from the end to end. And when end to end, I talk about from payroll processing to payroll disbursement and all the way to lodgement. Yeah. And the second is flexible model. And we are working in an ever-changing environment at the moment, and change is the only constant. And we all know, right? So there is always change within, the company, either through acquisition, divestitures, or even business focuses. And in extreme cases, and I can think of is, in directions from a outsourced model to an insource, right? So I would cite, I think recently we had a real situations where the business actually, need us to set up a new entity, right? And within a very short period of time, this is a result of an acquisition. And I remember the time frame given was about 3 to 4 weeks, right? Compared to a normal implementation, it's about 3 to 4 months for payroll. And we are glad, right, seriously, that our selected partners were able to assist us in this extreme request from the business. The third criteria is actually integrations, right? Prior to this project, we are actually manually extracting data from Workday, which is our Johnson Control HRM, right? And providing to our downstream payroll vendors. Now, this result not only in manual work from both sides, but also situation that we encounter where, transactions were not captured on time. Yeah. So one of the must-have, right, as we look at the partners is the ability to actually accept direct integrations of payroll-related transactions from Workday. That was actually one of the key. Now, fourth is actually SOX compliance. There's a lot of local payroll legislations that we need to comply with, and the penalty is big when we don't. In Johnson Control, we work with a lot of government projects, and we need special license to actually bid or tender for such projects. And that's the reason why we need to be, from payroll perspective, we need to make sure that we are always in compliance with local legislations in countries or areas that we operate in. Now, the last I want, right, definitely, is that payroll is the cause, right, for our business not being able to tender for government projects. Yeah, I can't imagine that day. That brings me to the last criteria, but definitely not the list. Is the very important one, because you hear me talking about digital transformation is about people, it's about our talent. Right, so the key consideration here is about improving our employee experiences and meeting all our employees' expectations in the HR service delivery. Now, so how do we actually ensure, right, that we get all these criteria in selecting our vendors? So I would like to share a little bit, right? Prior to us actually, getting into and working with partners, we actually engage, right, a advisory partner on board with us to do a payroll market studies. And so they, based on our criteria, they went out to actually search for us potential vendors. And we finally, locked down to nine potential shortlisted, 4 for China and 5 for the rest of Asia. And during the vendor evaluation process, we don't know, our evaluators actually need to go through a total of 42 questions for each particular vendors, right, to present their case, right? And they were targeted around 5 key categories now, namely functionality, usability, vendor viability, technical alignment, and costs, right? And everyone actually needs to went through that. And very interestingly, and I want just to share, a lot of people might ask in selecting vendors, is cost your key consideration? Now, I would like to say during our selection process, cost is a consideration, but it wasn't the key consideration. Right? And what then is, right, is actually the combination of SOX compliance and technical capability of the vendors. Because we definitely, as a digital companies that we are looking in, we do not want to be having, a technology that are so far back and behind. And I mentioned about the need for us to have licenses, right, to operate in areas that we are. SOX compliance were the key ones.
Yeah, absolutely.